Well, guys, we're trying to devise a way to air this truck up. I think I finally got enough fittings and stuff figured out here that I got a ball valve here. So I got a 1/2 inch to 3/8 pipe bushing going into a 3/8 nipple going into a ball valve. And then I got, of course, the male end here that I can plug my hose into. Let's just get out here on the end like this and just tighten everything up. Man, I'll tell you what, this morning I had a job. I don't think I've ever seen one of those do that before, but I had a 4850 John Deere. That's probably gonna be good enough. Let's get the ball valve straight up. That's loose too, huh? I might actually be able to show you what I did with this 2950. I think it's going to be a similar setup. Okay. But anyway, he broke it, and he already had the part. He knew what he broke. But I got over and I got to looking at it, and it's a little bit different on this one. Okay, see these shafts? Okay, so his, on that 4850, his third remote, there's one over here and two here. The third remote has an arm and a rod, and it's got a pop lever, a pop metal lever, kind of like this right here. So it had busted in half right where it goes around the shaft. So I got to looking at it when I walked to it, and he didn't notice that, but I noticed it. I noticed the levers were sagging like that. Well, on that 4850, this support brace here goes on top of the rock shaft, and there's 2 3/8 bolts in it. The bolts had come loose, and it was down like that. And so, of course, the levers were sagging like that. I tightened those bolts back up, but man, I had to take this clip off here. I had to tear the whole right-hand console damn near out of it. I had to take the lever off the end of the rod where I could twist the shaft to get the roll pin in it. Oh, it was a project, man. Okay. I am going to hook a bunch of air hoses together and run them out the door so we get this truck aired up. Get the brakes released on it. Well, first we'll have to anchor the forklift to it. Drag her back in the door because we have the pan off of it now, so she ain't gonna run. And we'll plug this into the air compressor. Come on, work with me here. Damn quick coupler's not wanting to latch in. Work with me here, you bastard. And I gotta clean this out where I can get it in here again. Okay, let's see if my little plan's gonna work. Should. I thought it would. Maybe I'm wrong. Huh. Why wouldn't that air it up? Shouldn't that air that up? Because the compressor discharges. This is the coming off the compressor. I would have really thought that would have aired that up. Tell me why that's not working. I don't understand why that would not work. All the old trucks, that's what we used to do. We used to just actually pull them right off the compressor and air the truck up. We had a ball valve we'd made for the hose, and we just air them right up off shop air. So what have they done now to where you can't even fucking do that? What am I missing here? Son of a bitch. Anything that ever was simple, they've just totally fucked it up. You know what? They've just totally made it to where you just can't do fucking shit with them. Primary, secondary. There must be some kind of, I don't know, some kind of check valve in there somewhere. Fuck if I know. I don't know what's there. I need to look at a plumbing diagram or something for the air dryer. I don't understand why that is like that. I mean, when that compressor is pumping, it's pumping air to the inlet side of that. The air should come out of it and charge these. There must be some kind of check or something. I don't understand that. Why is that not working correctly? I think that would have worked just fine. But I got more plans here, so I got to get this plug out of this one. And I'm just going to air them up individually, I guess. Got to get the damn thing aired up. The old trucks, you just come right off the compressor and aired them up. Had a ball valve that we had rigged up. Not anymore. That was too damn easy. Some guy said the Scania R500 truck could just piss all over these American trucks. Well, maybe these newer trucks, maybe. I'll have to admit, maybe these newer ones. But I know some E-model cats and some 6NZs that would take that Scania and suck the fucking air paint, that paint right off the son of a bitch when it went around it, and would plug up the air cleaner on the cat motor. And I can tell you right now that CM2350 that I rebuilt in Dave's truck, that's a running son of a bitch too. I had a buddy of mine the other day that's got a pretty hot E-model cat. He called me and he says, "What'd you do to Dave's truck when you rebuilt it?" I said, that one still has all the emission shit on it. And I said, I did an outer frame rebuild. I said, it really wasn't a complete outer frame. We only pulled it out because we wanted to reseal the rear structure. It was leaking. And I said we put a different intake manifold, and there's I can't remember what the name of the tuner is, but you can put a California legal tuner with that intake manifold that we put on there. I put an updated NCal file in it. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty well stock. But I know, I'm not lying to you either. I mean, I can bring Dave down here and you can tell him yourself, he gained 10 miles per hour on Mount Hebron with that truck after I did that. So let's air this tank up. This is going to be kind of like a cowboy type thing. All these hoses are right in my frickin' way. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get this in here. Hello? Hello? Yeah. Hello? Yeah, I'm here. Okay, so I gotta pull this out. It's gonna be noisy. Okay, so that tank should have some air in it. I'm gonna go over here to the secondary tank, or the primary, and air it up now. See if I can get something to happen. Golly, this front suspension trucks, man, when the air leaks off, golly, they're hard to get in and out of. So low to the ground, it's like a low rider. Okay, same song and dance on this one now. Me. Air this one up and see what happens. I got air in the secondary system now. Hey, let me go call this guy back. Okay, take all this stuff and put it back on there so we don't lose it. Yeah, that 4850, that was fun this morning. Getting that lever on there, gee whiz. I had about 3 hours getting that damn thing on there. I thought I was gonna have to jack the cab up. I couldn't get my hands in there on that one bracket to even tighten the bolts up. I finally got an end wrench, a gear wrench on it, a 9/16 gear wrench, and then I took a big long flat bladed screwdriver and I got the gear wrench on with my left arm, and I took the screwdriver once I got the gear wrench over the head of the bolt, and then I got it on there and I could hold it on with the screwdriver and ratchet it down. Is how I finally got it on there. Cable on this side was already broke on this truck first time, so there's no cable on this side. Unplug the lights, let's not forget to do that. I like these, some of the older Pete's 379 stuff that had just a bolt in there. They put carriage bolts in these, which makes it way nicer to do. Bolts loose out of it. Plug the lights. Let's lay these bolts up inside here, that way they don't get lost. You can have the hoods off one of these 389s pretty quick. They're nice and square, and you can put a pallet under them like that and just lift them off with the forklift. Those 587s and stuff, I use my crane and I grab them up there and put a spreader bar on them so it doesn't pull the hood in, and so it lifts it straight. It just takes longer because of the round nose on them and stuff like that. These old Peterbilt is going, they're discontinuing these square noses 389, so there's a lot of guys trying to get them right now. Gotta make sure that war. I think what I'm going to do with the hood, I guess I'll set it over there where it was originally, but make sure this one wire is going to clear. Okay, we should be good to go. Let's see here. Let's put the old Vicchio cameras right here. Sounds like a pretty good spot. this has front air suspension on it, and this bag's leaking, and Martin told me to change it. So I got to get one of those coming. But I found that if you air up the back through this line, and go right here. Now you can get your drain pan under the damn radiator, but you got to keep an eye on it, so you don't want to. Hold on, I got to go dump this water. This is straight water. I got to get rid of this. Yeah, it's leaking right now. Well, that's my air hose I'm hearing. Barely feel it leaking off right there. I got a jack stand right there underneath it this time, on each side, on the front, or on the, oh, what do you ever call it, the front bolster there. So it should, when it leaks off, it should come down and sit on those. Yeah, let's get this intake off of here. Not the intake manifold, but the inlet going into from the air cleaner to the turbo and all that good stuff. Yeah. That's the only bad thing about these Milwaukees. The bigger batteries, they don't last very long. They get so heavy from the vibration. They lose contact there. They can be very problematic. Now, one thing about it, this one's a complete engine, so all of this stuff we can leave it alone. Should all be on there. Basically, this won't take us long to get this out of here. I sure as hell ain't gonna have them waiting on me, I'll tell you that. I'm not gonna be the holdup in this process. Okay, so we gotta get this. You know, that's another thing you sit there and think about. All this stuff that you did, zip tying all these wires up, trying to do a nice tidy job of it, and then, you know, you just wasted all that. You pretty much just wasted all that stuff. All that time you spent putting all this harness on here and zip tying it all up, it was just all wasted time you'll never get back. It is what it is. Looks like I'm trying to remember what size those are. I think they're 16s or 17s, I think. But the nice thing about it is we don't have to mess around too much with we can get it out of there pretty quick. We don't have to separate the head and, well, I don't know yet. You know, they're telling him that Paccar doesn't cover progressive damage. Some guy on the comment section had a pretty good analogy. That was be like if you had flooding insurance on your house and you had a pipe break, a $20 pipe break downstairs in the basement and flooded well, anywhere in the house, I guess he said, but flooded the house, and it caused $50,000 worth of damage, and the insurance company said, well, we'll cover the pipe that broke, but we're not covering everything else. That's kind of what Paccar's doing here. If it ain't chicken shit, it's got pretty good hen house ways to it. Oops, forgot I got another zip tie here. The coolant, or the water, or the windshield wiper hose and stuff here for it. Okay. I'm trying to put these bolts back in here. Well, shit, that goes in here. You know, I watch one of the YouTubers I watch is, I like that Eric O from South Main Auto. I really like that guy. I see he has to go through some of the same stuff. He did his last video, and he was working on, well, it wasn't his last video, the last one I watched, I should say. But he was working on some old farmers, you know, he had a Dodge pickup with a Hemi in it, and he got underneath there, and there was cow shit and everything all underneath it, and Eric must really, Eric goes through really, you know, huge lengths to not say shit or anything like that on his channel. He don't want to be demonetized or something. I don't know what it is, but maybe he don't like to cuss. I don't know. It is what it is. But to me, I never thought shit was a cuss word anyway. It's just something that comes out your ass. It's a natural occurrence. You know, I mean, what's the difference between saying crap and shit? They just sound different. Why is that a cuss word? I never understood that, you know? Well, I'm not yelling an obscenity at you. Whatever. Anyway, I gotta cut these two. But he had this farmer's pickup in there, and he was getting underneath it there, and he had to go, now, before all you guys start making comments about this guy should have cleaned that off before he brought it into you, you know, he has to put up with the same crap that I do. Okay, so we got pretty much everything on the front there. So now what we got to do, we got to get this exhaust clamp loose. And we got to get all the stuff on the back end here loose. I got to get this AC line undone. Let's see, where did my nice little wrench pliers? I'm not sure where the hell they're at. Let's get this light over here. Power steering, there's another couple hoses that we got to pull on that too. But it ain't too bad. This go around, what I'm gonna do, instead of messing with these stupid quick connect fittings, well, this one's already screwed up anyway. I'm gonna take it off down here. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, I don't know. What do you think? See if we can break another one? I'm sorry, that's such a chicken shit way to do something right there. This one here, they couldn't find the damn clip for me. So I zip tied it on there where it wouldn't come off. So now the return line and the supply line are off. Let's take the... That's a brand new fitting I put on there. The one that was on there kept leaking. The purge line going to the compressor, not the purge line, but the unloader line going to the compressor right here. It's got that elbow on it. That's a... Figure out what size plug I need for that. Do something in this neighborhood, I think. There we go. We got one over that. Stick that one in there. There we go. Okay. So let's take the pressure line off down here. Which, I wonder where my wrench pliers went. This old nut wreck and spanner ought to work. Nut wreck and spanner. Okay, let me get a JIC plug and a cap for that. Number 8. I had one of my customers. He's a younger guy. He knew I was busy and he decided to take it upon himself, which is fine. I'm glad he did it. Nothing doesn't hurt to learn. He owns 4 or 5 trucks now, and he decided that he was going to do brakes on his truck. So he did brakes on his Western Star truck, and he called me and he said, yeah, ended up having 2 wheel seals that were leaking, and I did them. He goes, the only thing I could think of is going, how does Warren do this shit every frickin' day? Well, there's hoses back here that go to the... I think they feed the SCR, all the coolant fittings on the SCR doser. Those are off. I got to get that compressor line off right there. These two lines here, these harness connectors here got to come loose. I need to cut all these ties here that I put on there. Basically every tie that I put on is got to be cut again. I got to go charge the battery in this camera. Alright, so we got a little more juice in the battery here, the camera. This red wire goes clear back to the alternator, if I remember right. And you got to take it loose in here. I got it all. Take the 9/16 here to it. Take that one off there. Tied all this in here when I put it back together. Yeah, okay. So now we got to get underneath and pull it all through. That's the block heater's got to be unplugged and cut all the zip ties and pull it clear through. Here's our little red wire right here, and that's got to have to cut that zip tie right there that I put on there. I don't know if I can get lucky enough to. Nice if I could keep that on there. But it appears it's not going to happen. Yeah, that sucker ought to. No, you're never going to get that fuse through there, so let me cut that zip tie off. It's easier for me anyway that I found to leave this wire with the engine when I pull it out, instead of trying to reach up in there where that alternator is and all that stuff. It's so hard to get to. Pull that one through now. Okay, a couple more ties here to cut. Alright, red wire should stay with the engine. Okay, what else underneath here? This has got a PTO on it, so I'm gonna have to drain the oil out of it, pull the pump off the PTO drive, and then pull the PTO off so I can get a jack under it. And then, so I'll show you what I do on these. I leave the clutch in it. I leave it hanging right on the input shaft. So we'll get our turning tool and we'll put it on we'll pull the little inspection plate off the clutch there, and we'll put the turning tool on the ring gear, and then we'll turn it to each set of bolt holes there. There's 2 bolt holes I call per set, you know, and you'll pull the bolts off the flywheel that hold the clutch to the flywheel, and just when you pull it out, you can leave your clutch right on your input shaft, and it'll come out of there a lot easier. You don't have to worry about trying to unspline it, you know, so it's a lot easier to do it that way. So yeah, so the next step is let's probably do that. Alright, so let's get the turning tool in there. Oh, I don't have the pan on. I didn't really need to have that extension on there. Get the pan on there, you got to get an extension on there so you can turn the ratchet. But I don't have the pan on. I forgot about that. And it doesn't really matter which way you go at this point. Who cares? We're just rotating it to get some bolts out here. I got tools laying under here everywhere. Wires. So if a man was to get up under here, and then take this here magnetic light and stick it on the bottom of this transmission. Let's see here. My buddy works for a truck shop, and let's go like this. Okay, so a guy on the I was talking about how I pulled this out and how I leave the clutches on the input shafts. And I remember reading one of the comments, and a guy went through a pretty lengthy thing of basically saying, how did I do it? That he thought that was impossible to do. It's really easy to do. Well, when I go back together with this thing, I'll show you too, step by step. But it's easier pulling them off like this, and it's easier putting them on. And what you're doing here is, when you pull it off, for one thing, is you don't have to try to get that clutch to slide clear off that input shaft. And what it does, it doesn't hang up on you when you're pulling the engine out. It just pops right off. You only got to come as far as the lip is on the bell housing and as far as the pilot's
into the throwout bearing. That's all you got to come out. And then that clutch will stay right there behind the clutch fork. Will kind of latch the throwout bearing and keep it in. So keep your clutch fork on, or your clutch linkage on, and then pull your, just do like I'm doing here and pull the pressure plate bolts out, and it'll just all pop right out of there. It works really nice. And then when you're going back on, the same thing. See, you when you're going back on, you're not trying to line up all those splines on that clutch with the input shaft. It's just the only thing you really got to line up is your pilot, and they just go together so much easier. This is about the only way I would ever do these ever again. I hardly ever do the guide studs and clutch jack and all that monkeying around with them. This is you already got a transmission jack. It's the transmission.
Should be, what are there? 2, 4, should be 8 there. Yeah. Well, you'll know when you rotate this here turning tool and the clutch doesn't move. Oh, I would say that's it. Okay. So, the clutch will stay on the input shaft of the engine, or the transmission. And then, so the next thing we're going to do while we're under here is, let me see if I can get the camera down here somewhere. What's up, Josie Lou? What's up, Josie? What's up, good looking? Jesus, oh, I put those on. I was gonna say, who tightened those up? Oh, I did. Holy shit, I tightened them up too. Whew. Wow. I did a good job on those. I'm probably gonna have to go get that other box in, I think, to get these top ones out, a regular box in. I don't know if I can get this opened in on her, and you can't get this gear wrench on there. Oh, I remember I had to have that angle-headed wrench to get those loose up there on top. I couldn't get them with the regular end wrench. Let me get this one on the other side here. I'll have to go get an angle-headed end wrench, and then 9/16. They've got a bracket they made here to support the back end of the PTO. I have to pull that loose. And then dump the oil in the transmission and pull the PTO off of it and get a jack under it. But I'll probably just go ahead and drain it tonight and leave the PTO on and come back in the morning and pop the PTO off. But we're going to be videoing a cat tomorrow we're working on. Yeah, but we'll get this pump off of here. Oh, hi, baby. I gotta pet Josie for a little while here. Hi, babe. How are you? How are you doing? Oh, I know. You want to take a nap under here? Huh? Don't lick that nasty old transmission. Don't lick that. That's not good for you, no nasty stuff. Huh? Oh, baby. I know. Are you ready to go home? Yeah, I'm ready to go home too. I don't want to be here anyway. She sure is a good gal though. Huh. I had to start chewing on me for a little bit or what? You gonna chew on me? You know I'm trying to do something here. Okay. Alright, well I'm climbing out of here. She's just gonna lay down here now and decide to go take a nap, I guess. So I think she's telling me that she doesn't want to be here anymore. Huh. And she'd just rather be going home, huh? Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind going home either. Okay. This is gonna be my #1 friend. You get a bath tonight, you know. You're filthy. You're filthy. Mom's gonna give you a bath. You're not gray, you're brown. You're brown, girl. Well, guys, yeah, that's where we're at. I gotta pull 2 bolts back here in this bracket. I'm gonna get these 2 bolts out here, pull the pump off there, drain the oil tonight, and the only thing that's left to pull this engine out is pull the bell housing bolts off of it and support it with a jack, and then hook onto it the crane and pull it out of there. So that there ain't much left. I don't know, I probably got 5 hours into it today. So pulling it out now that, I mean, this is the first one of these Packars I've ever pulled out. So, well, this would be the second one. So, anyways, it is what it is. What a pile of shit! What a pile of shit! I gotta get a, well, I got a block, yeah, right here. You don't need a clutch jack. You've got one right here, the transmission. So you take all your shit here and slide it in. It slid out on me a little bit. Let me climb inside here. I wasn't thinking, and so when you stack this whole clutch up, should be all stacked up already. Okay, so it's already out. Okay, so basically, see, there's your throwout bearing. You'll basically just take the pressure plate assembly, throwout bearing assembly, slide it in. This style of Eaton clutch, the intermediate plate doesn't just come out like a lot of the old ones did that had the square slots in them. It stays in there. So you'll slide this and that on, and then take your inner disc and slide it on the input shaft, and make sure it's over the forks, over the flats on your throwout bearing. Pull it back and shove it in up against the clutch brake, and when you slide it in, the only thing you're having to line up is your pilot. That's it. And it pops right together, and then you go right through the inspection hole in the bell housing and rotate the crankshaft with that turning tool on the ring gear right here around to each hole, and just put your bolts in. And you'll have to go around 2 revolutions, because you got to go around and start them all, and then go back and tighten them all up, you know. But it's way, 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 way easier. I had my buddy of mine works at a truck shop, and you know, we've always done it for years where we did guide studs and slid the clutch up on there and then splined the transmission and fought it, getting it lined up, you know. And I showed him this method, and he goes, I'll never do it the old way again, ever. He said, I could kiss you for that. So if you're doing these, it's just, I mean, you don't need a clutch jack. You got one right here. It's your transmission. So, and I'm not saying that I thought of that. I learned that from another guy. So, anyways, that's the way you do that anyhow. All right, well, I'm gonna pull an airbag. This guy said he go ahead. He said, fix anything you see on it. We're spending so much money on this. Let's just fix it. This airbag here it's all rotted out on the bottom and it keeps leaking off. The others look fine, so I'm going to pull this airbag out and get a number off of it and call Fleet Pride and see if they can get me an airbag for this thing. And then I never did fix this leak last time. I told them about it, but I'm going to fix it this time because we're here. This hose right here on this little tree is leaking, coming from there to the transmission cooler. So looks like either 5/8 or 3/4 inch silicone hose. So we'll just pull that off of there, and I've got some of that in the shop here, and we'll fix that, and that'll be done. And we'll get the airbag. I got jack stands under it, and I'm gonna air this. That rear suspension leaked off, and it rocked the axle forward and shoved the jack stands forward. No good. So, anyways. Alright guys, well, I'm gonna work on my 6.7 Cummins. I have my oil pump, and I got my rockers, and I got my oil cooler. Still waiting for the VGT turbo rebuild kit. That hasn't showed up yet. It was supposed to be in today, but I haven't seen a notification for it yet. But anyways, I'm gonna get to work on this.